Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 2, Contents of the Gita summarized, text number 14 onwards. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agamapayano nityas tam sitikshasva bharata. So Lord Krishna says, O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress and their disappearance in due course are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O scion of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. In the previous verse, Krishna has spoken about the thing which is constant in this world, and that is the change. How our body itself is constantly changing, and then the death is the final change. Then the soul moves into another body. So all these changes are constantly happening. So one might think, all right, it is good to know philosophically, but when we are actually going through it, somebody passes away and a big trial is happening in our life, a big challenge has come into our life. So what do? In response to that, Krishna speaks this particular verse. Not every problem has a solution. Some problems can be solved, some issues can be resolved, and some just need to be tolerated. So tolerance is the virtue which Krishna recommends that we cultivate. Because we are living in the world of duality. If there is happiness, there must be distress also. If there is praise, there will be criticism also. If there is profit, there will be loss also. If there are friends, we are bound to have enemies as well. That is the nature of the world. So we cannot change it. How much ever we try and fight against these things. We are living in a world which is a world of duality. It is stamped like that. So if you want to reduce our stress is defined as gap between expectation and reality. So can the reality be changed? The reality is the world is made like that. If there are some people praising you, there will be some people who will criticize you also, insult you also. If there is profit, sometimes you also might experience loss. So can this be changed? This is the reality. No, it can never be changed. So what can we change? Expectation. So that gap has to be reduced. So if you want to be stress-free in these circumstances, Krishna says you have to cultivate the quality of tolerance. There's no solution to this. You will have to learn to tolerate. And tolerance means inner strength. Inner strength is synonymous with spiritual strength. So when we engage in activities like hearing about the Lord from the scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, or studying them, chanting His names primarily, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the names of the Lord, we perform worship of the Lord, associate with His devotees. Activities like these help us build our inner muscles. And then when these changes do take place in our life, we bleed less compared to others. We are able to sail through these challenges easily. All these activities put us in a different zone altogether. For example, if we are standing in a place where the temperature is say 45 degrees Celsius and it is intolerable, we can't tolerate it, it's so painful, then we suddenly enter into a room which is air conditioned at 20 degrees Celsius. Now how do we feel? We feel so much better. Has the situation outside changed? No. But are we feeling the pain as we used to earlier? No. Because we are in a different zone altogether. Similarly, why is the Gita's message so important? Why are we listening to it every day? How is it relevant to my life? Because it will help me enter a different zone altogether, so that the dualities of this world will stop affecting me. We shall be able to remain equiposed, whether it's happiness or distress, whether somebody praises us, glorifies us, or insults us, we won't get affected. So we cannot change the circumstances, we cannot change the nature of the world, but what we can certainly learn to respond in a more dignified way. We can certainly do something so that we cannot or do not get affected by these changes, these challenges that take place. So tolerance is a virtue that we have to cultivate at any cost. Problem is, we try to find a solution to every problem. The root cause of anxiety is endless expectations. The root cause of anxiety is we want to be in control of every situation, every person. We have an unrealistic expectation from life that everything should happen the way I want, everything should go the way I desire, everyone should be happy with me, pleased with me. But that doesn't happen. That's against the reality. It is the most unrealistic expectation to have. So we expect that sometimes good things will happen, sometimes bad things will happen. Sometimes there will be happiness, sometimes there will be distress. So we expect and we accept when it actually happens. Then compared to others, the shock that we receive will be much lighter in intensity. We can't stop these things from happening, but we can certainly make ourselves immune to these challenges and changes that apparently take place in this world. So tolerance is the key. How do we tolerate happiness? How do we tolerate distress? One important point here, which will be very, very helpful. When we go through happy situations in life, what does it mean by tolerating happiness? It means not becoming proud or complacent. When we go through happy situations in life, we should know that our good karma is getting exhausted. And it is a fact. For example, we are spending a lot of money, we are taking money from our bank account, our savings. That means the more we are spending, the more that money is getting exhausted from our account. Similarly, we enjoy against our piety that we have acquired from our previous good karmas. So when we are enjoying too much, when there is a happy situation in life, we can remain sober by not becoming proud when we think that, oh, my good karmas are getting exhausted. So it is a situation to remain sober. So how will a person ever become proud when he knows that the more he enjoys, the more his good karmas get exhausted? And it is a fact. And secondly, when we are going through some stressful situation in life, we should know that our bad karma is getting exhausted. And this is also a fact. Whatever problems, anxiety, stress we face in life is the result of our bad karmas committed knowingly, unknowingly in this lifetime or previous lifetime. So it's a situation to rejoice in one sense, because my bad karmas are getting over. So this way we can remain equiposed and maintain equanimity in both happiness and distress. This way we can tolerate things. When somebody praises us, how can we tolerate praise? By understanding that it is that person who is praising me who has a pure heart. That's why he is seeing the good in me. Because if I am that good, then everyone should be praising me. Everyone should say good things about me. But there are people who say bad things about me also. So that means what? So I understand that I have no good in me. It is the other person who is seeing that because he is good. And the person who is bad is seeing the bad in me. So I remain unaffected by both. like that. This way we can learn to tolerate various dualities that come into our life, and that will help us remain sober. There was a king, and he got a new precious diamond ring made for himself, and he wanted to write something on it. After looking at which, the king, if he was happy, he should feel sad, and if he was sad, looking at it, he would feel happy. So many people came with different slogans, sentences, but the king was not happy, except when one person proposed something, and that was the solution to what king was looking for. And he wrote, "This too shall pass." So king was happy. So he was happy when he would look at it, he would feel sad, because that happiness would also pass, that stage would also get over. And when he was sad, he would look at it, he would feel happy, because this sadness will also go away, because that is the nature of the world. Nothing is permanent, everything is bound to change. So when we are going through a happy situation, don't become overly proud, because this can change any moment. When we are going through a stressful situation, don't become overly sad, because this will also not remain for long. Nothing is permanent, not even our struggles, not even our sorrows. So this way, keeping this valuable knowledge in our mind, that things can change any moment. Okay, when we anticipate that something might happen, so what should we do? We should prepare ourselves. We should prepare ourselves much in advance. That's why there is a saying which says, "Those who sweat in peace bleed less in war." In army they use this. Those who sweat in peace bleed less in war. You see, whenever you go to an army camp, they are training so hard, morning, evening, for hours. And you might wonder, what is the need? There's no war happening, or there might not be any war happening at that moment, but war can happen any moment, and the army anticipates that. So when it happens, they are well prepared, because one trained soldier is better than 1,000 untrained soldiers, and they bleed less because they are now fully trained up. That is why it is said that, I tell especially the younger people, when you try and inspire them for spirituality, a lot of them think that no, everything is going on so well in their life, they are happy, they don't need it, what is the point? So my argument is, alright, today everything might just be going your way, you might be happy, but things can change any moment, and inevitably they do for everyone, no matter who we are. Then how will you protect yourself? Where will you have the strength from? So intelligence says we understand the nature of this world, the overall situation, and therefore we anticipate and we keep ourselves prepared well in advance, so that when there is a challenge actually taking place, we are able to respond in a more dignified way. We don't break down, we bleed less compared to others. So we have to start our spiritual journey not when the vehicle of our life breaks down, but even before that, so that when it does break down, we'll have necessary intelligence and strength to continue. And that is something which is within our control. So Krishna says one must learn to tolerate these dualities without being disturbed. Text 15. Yam hina vyathyanti te purusham purusharshabha sama dukkha sukham dhiram swamritatvaya kalpate. So what happens if a person learns to tolerate these dualities? He lives a life like this. He says, O best among men, he is telling Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation. We become eligible for the ultimate perfection of life. We proceed towards liberation. So liberation becomes our birthright. So it's very, very important that we don't become disturbed by whatever results come as per or against our desires. We tolerate both. Happiness, not overly elated, we thank the Lord. That way we can remain humble because we know it is by His grace. And if there is distress, we take shelter of the Lord. We know, oh, my own bad karmas are getting exhausted. So it's a situation to remain calm. Let it get over because nothing is permanent. Now, text number 16 to 30. Krishna is going to elaborate more upon the subject matter of the body and the soul, how the body is temporary and how the soul is permanent, how the body cannot be saved and how the soul can never be killed. And we are the soul. We have already explained that we are spiritual beings. So essentially, we should be focusing more on the soul aspect rather than the body, because how much ever we try, body is just slipping away. Old age, disease and death finally. But the soul is permanent, so we should focus on something which is permanent. And here he is going to explain some characteristics of the soul. And we might find some repetition, but the repetition is there just to emphasize a particular point, how the soul, as souls, we are eternal. And therefore we have to be fearless. Only the body keeps changing. The body is temporary. So I'm going to just read through these verses and their translation. Wherever explanation is required, I shall give that. Text 16. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubhayorapi drishtavantas, tvanayos tattvadarshibhihi. He says, text 16, those who are seers of the truth, those who actually know the tattva, the truth, have concluded that of the non-existent, that is the material body, there is no endurance, it doesn't last, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. Text 17. Avinashi tu tadvidhi yena sarvam idam tatam vinasham avyayasyasya nakaschit kartum arhasi. That which pervades the entire body, you should know to be indestructible, the soul. No one is able to destroy that imperishable soul. Why is the soul? Why are we so powerful? Why is the soul so powerful? Because it is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. That is why. Since the Lord never dies, the soul, being the part and parcel, also never dies. Text 18. Antavanta ime deha nitya shoktah sharirinaha anashino aprameyasya tasmad yudhyasva bharata. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, a fight, O descendant of Bharata. So the material body, that means our body of the indestructible refers to the soul, immeasurable and eternal living entity, is sure to come to an end. The body must come to an end, but the soul is indestructible. It cannot be destroyed. It is immeasurable. Now, immeasurable doesn't mean that the soul does not have a form. We have a spiritual form. Just like we have a material body, we have a spiritual body, which is of the same shape but much more superior. So when we say the soul is immeasurable, it means materially, with material means, it cannot be measured if we try to do that. It can't be seen with material eyes because it is spiritual. Even matter and anything material we can't see with the naked eye. We have to use microscope. We can't see things too close, too far. So we have imperfect senses. So we cannot even perceive matter properly. How can we perceive the spirit properly? So the soul is indestructible, materially immeasurable, and it is eternal. It never dies. Same thing, Krishna continues to explain. Text number 19. Ya enam vetti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhautau na vijanito nayam hanti na hanyate. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain is in knowledge. For the self slays not, nor is slain. So anyone who thinks that the soul kills or the soul is killed, both are fools. They don't know anything. Text 20. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. So if there is birth, then there has to be death also, since the soul is not born. It doesn't take birth. Body takes birth. The material bodies take birth, and since they take birth, they also have to end. They also have death. But the soul is unborn because there is no history of the soul taking birth. It was simply the Supreme Lord, Krishna, and it is explained in the Puranas. He expanded himself into many, many parts and parcels. So we are his parts and parcels. So we are not born, we were just expanded. That doesn't mean we are also God. We are godly. We are qualitatively of similar nature. We are spiritual. So therefore the soul is eternal and there is no death because there is no birth. But the body, it is born at some point. It also has to die. Anything which is material, made up of matter, has a shelf life. There will be beginning and there will be an end also. And that soul remains eternal. Text 21. Veda vinashinam nityam yaenam ajamavyayam katham sa purushah partha kam ghatayati hantikam. O Partha, how can a person who knows that the soul is indestructible, eternal, unborn and immutable kill anyone or cause anyone to kill? He is telling Arjuna, you think you are going to kill them? They are never going to die. Only their bodies will perish, and even if you don't kill the bodies can't stay forever. They will anyways die. So it is better that they die in a battle. They will at least achieve a higher destination. And Arjuna, it is better that he fights so that he will not get the reaction of not performing his duty as a Kshatriya. So he must perform his prescribed duty and not shy away from this. Text 21, 22. Vashamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani grihanati naro parani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi. As a person puts on new garments, giving up old ones, the soul similarly accepts new material bodies, giving up the old and useless ones. So the body is compared to a garment. Depending on what desires the soul cultivates, a particular garment is given to it. The soul is sometimes described as it. It's neither male nor female, it is a spiritual being. So, of course, when we mature in spiritual life, we'll understand the actual nature of the soul, our own nature, which is divine. So the body is simply a garment. Sometimes people ask, why don't we get reaction? Why should I get a reaction for some activity that I did in my past life? For example, a criminal has committed a crime and is running away from the police. After some time, he comes in front of them, roams around in a different dress. Police still catches him. He says, why should you catch me? I was in a different dress at that time. I was looking a different person. He said, we are not concerned with the dress you are wearing. We are concerned with the person. So therefore, even after many lifetimes, the karma, our karmic reactions, they follow us life after life after life. Because body is simply a change of dress, but the soul is the main person. And body is always dead. Body is only active because the soul is present. So the main person is the soul. And there are 8.4 million species, 8.4 million types of bodies that can be granted to the soul. Depending on the desires we cultivate, we get a particular type of body. So it is very important to cultivate the right kind of desire so that our future destination, future body is a nice one. Otherwise, we'll be simply wasting our human form of life. So once a human being doesn't mean always a human being. Human being is blessed with the ability to make choices. Depending on the choices that he makes, he may get elevated to the higher destinations after he dies, or he may get degraded to lower species of life. Every possibility is there. So we should learn to make the right choices. And for that we need to be guided by superior intelligence, which is coming from Guru and Krishna, and which is given in the scriptures. So we need to be guided as far as our choices are concerned by the proper bona fide Guru who can guide us based on scriptures. Our choices should not be based upon the popular opinion or social media, or just because majority of people are doing it. No, that's not the standard. What do the scriptures say? Because ultimately we will be judged for our actions and our words based on the scriptural injunctions, the laws mentioned in the scriptures. So we might as well understand that this human body is a garment and how we can utilize it properly to elevate ourselves and not degrade ourselves further. Simply by getting the body of a human being, one does not become a human being. Just like if I start wearing the uniform of a lawyer, I don't become a lawyer. I have to qualify myself. If I wear the uniform of a doctor, I don't become a doctor. I have to qualify myself. Similarly, simply by getting the body or garment of a human body, one does not become a human being. One has to qualify himself. And it is explained, human life begins when a person starts practicing spiritual culture, God consciousness, and starts seeking answers to questions like, who am I? Where do I come from? Where will I go? What is the purpose of life? Who is God? What is my relationship with God? How do I revive that relationship? Why do I suffer even if I do not want to? How can I put an end to this suffering? What is the goal of life? So when a person starts questioning like this, that's when actually the human life begins. Otherwise, a human life remains animalistic as long as a person is only worried about how to eat better, sleep better, enjoy, and try to protect what he has. That is on the level of animals, because they are also doing the same thing. What makes us a human is that we practice our real dharma, the spiritual culture, the God consciousness, and how we revive that connection with the Lord. That is what human life is specially meant for. Out of 8.4 million species, only humans are blessed with this ability. So therefore, to utilize our human life for any purpose but this is a sheer waste of energy and time, and we are putting ourselves in great danger. So we have to understand, we are not the body, we are spiritual beings. That's our identity, and start living our natural life. Body is temporary. How much ever we try to hold on to it, it is not going to stay, and soul is permanent. So we might start investing in something that is permanent. God is permanent, His name is permanent, His devotional service, His message is permanent. Our connection with Him is permanent. So let's start focusing on that aspect of our life, along with performing our worldly duties. We don't have to give up anything, but we definitely need to add this dimension to our life. Hare Krishna. So we'll continue on the same theme regarding the eternality of the soul and the temporary nature of the body till text number 30. We have done till 22. So in the next podcast, we'll begin from text number 23. Thank you so much.